Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube class 11 Accountancy. As you know that accountancy is a vital aspect of the subject which is to be studied, and the person who is doing the accounting practice is called accountant. You know it. Wherever you will go the different offices, you will find the post of accountant job, accounts officer, account clerks, like that. And in business organization, obviously they are having the accountant post. That accountant person is responsible for recording of the transactions. We are doing the recording of the transaction in the books of original entry, then posting to the ledger accounts. From ledger we are doing the trial balance. As you know, that is the accounting process, accounting cycle. Here one thing question arises, when we are giving the responsibilities of the job of doing the accounting job to the person, does it perform the job 100% accurately or is doing certain mistakes? Obviously, that each and every person is trying the best performance to complete the job very effectively and efficiently, so that everybody will praise him. No doubt on it. And the job of accountant is one of the important job. You know, there is the risk also. There is a risk also. If there is a certain mistake, it is a lot of consequences will be arises. And if he is not doing the job properly, also there is a certain problems on him, on the job of him. So whatever it may be, that accounting is a vital aspect. It should be recorded very, very minutely and accurately. Then after we will get the good results. Good results means if our accounting records in the books of original entry and the posting as well as from trial balance, we are doing correctly, accurately, then we'll get the correct profit of the business, correct result of the correct profit or loss. Otherwise, there is a mistake. If you do the records incorrectly, accurately, then there is also will get the true and fair view of our financial position. That is the vital aspect of the accounting records. If you records the transaction correctly, accurately, then you will get the true and fair view. Means the real pictures, exact pictures of the assets, liabilities and your financial positions. Otherwise, there is a certain mistakes. If you does not get the correct records, then certainly there is also mistake in your calculation of profit or loss. That is the results of the business. So if that is a mistake, then you can imagine that what type of consequences will arise. So that's why we need the proper recording of transactions. That is the aim and objectives of accounting. As you know that as from the beginning I told you, the accounting is a vital subject, and the person who is performing the accountant job is also the important person. That is why? Because that there is a human being. Human being means that to error, mistake. Every human being is doing certain mistakes, no doubt on it. I am also doing certain mistakes, you are also doing mistakes, everybody is doing mistakes. Even if he is the prime ministers or the government officers or the politicians, everybody is doing mistakes. because it is the human being nature. You cannot say that I am 100% doing correct, not sure. So that should be taken into account, that as the human being is involved in doing certain mistakes. So in recording of transactions, while he is doing the accountant job, performing the accounting job, he is doing some certain mistakes. If there is a mistake, your correct, the profit loss will not be calculated. Your true and fair view of financial position cannot be depicted, cannot be shown. The real picture cannot be shown. So you need the proper recordings of transactions. So if there is a mistake, then what will do? Now you have to do the corrections, rectifications. Correction and rectification in the accounting records means not overwriting, cutting. Through overwriting, through cutting or erasing, making the whitener, then rectified, corrected, not like that. Accounting job is not like that. Already I told you it is a very risky job. And you need the proper careful records of maintenance as well as the proper systematic way of rectifying it, the correcting the errors. So today's we will discuss about the rectification of errors. That is the most important topic. So rectification of errors. When rectification of errors arises, then we should understand the basic view about the type of accounting errors. What are the different types of errors? What is the nature of errors? If you could not understood it, then certainly you cannot rectify it. You cannot go to the grassroots levels for the rectifications. For rectification purpose, we need the proper and the clear understanding of the accounting errors. So you can see this classifications of the graph that errors, accounting errors is well classified into two groups, two heads. There is a clerical errors, that means there is the human errors, errors due to negligence of the human being. And second one is your errors of principle. If there is a errors, then certainly the trial balance, we had already prepared the trial balance. In the trial balance, I already told you that trial balance shows the arithmetical accuracy of your transactions, means correctness. If your total debit, total credit is equal, that means your trial balance is accurate, no doubt on it. But you cannot sure that there is no mistake at all. There is some errors which is in your trial balance but could not be shown. Your trial balance will be agreed. That means errors is there, your trial balance is agreed. But if your trial balance is not mismatched, that means it's not agreed, then you are sure that there is certain mistake or there is some errors, will do it rectifications. But still there is a trial balance, your trial balance will be agreed, but still some errors are there. You need those errors to be identified, locate, and then rectifications. So trial balance does not shows the proof of evidence of your correctness of your accounting records. That's why the accounting job or the accountant of the person who is involved in the job of recording of transactions, he should be very careful about it, because human beings to error is human being. So there is the errors, classification of errors we are discussing. That is the types of errors, clerical errors and errors of principles. Clerical errors, that is the man-made errors. That is the errors done by the person who is involved in the recording of transactions. That's why I had told you in the beginning that what is the job of accountant or the accounts officers or the accounts clerk. That is the person who is doing the recording of transaction, responsible of doing the recording of transaction. Accountant or the accounts clerk is doing certain mistakes due to negligence or due to some other reasons, whatever it may be. And the second type of errors is arises due to wrong treatment of the principles or the violating the principles. There is errors. So there is the clerical errors, there is the man-made errors, is classified into three different types. That is errors of omission, errors of commission, then compensating errors. Errors of commission, that is a complete omission or partial omissions. Let's come to errors of omission. Omission means that omitting certain records, transactions, either in the books of original entry or in the books while we are doing the posting from the books of original entry to the ledger posting. There is some transaction may be omitted. That is called errors omission. This errors arises when you are omitting the certain records from recording the transactions. That is errors of omission. So errors of omission is two types: complete omission, partial omissions. Complete omission means totally omitted from the records. For example, purchase of goods from Ram rupees 10,000. It is completely omitted to record in the books of original entry. So that is a complete omission. If it is a complete omission, then it does not affect your trial balance agreement. That means your trial balance will be agreed, but omission is there. That a transaction you had forget to record. If your transaction forgetted to record, then you must say your profits and loss will not show the correct. Your financial position also to be wrong. So that is the complete omissions. Partial omission means we have recorded in the books of original entry, but while we are doing the posting to the ledger accounts, that means to the secondary books of entry from original books of original entry to the secondary books of entry to the ledger books, we had omitted to post in the particular ledger account. Just before that I had given the examples that purchase goods from Ram 10,000, yet completely omitted to record in the books of original entry. So that is a complete omission. But purchase of goods rupees 10,000 from Ram recorded in the books of original entry, while we had posted to the ledger account of the Ram, we had forgotten. So there is a partial omission. That means to the Ram account it has been omitted. Purchase account it is recorded, but in the Ram account it is forgotten to record. So that is partial omission. If there is a partial omission, then it will certainly affect your trial balance agreement. That means trial balance will not match. It will be mismatch. Disagreement will be there. So there is a errors of omission. Then second, errors of commission. Errors of commission means committing certain mistake due to negligence, due to carelessness, due to some there is an absent mind while talking with someone in the phone or with some other persons, but at the time we are recording the transaction, at the time we are doing certain mistakes. So this type of committing certain mistake is called errors of commission. That means the errors which arises while we are recording the transactions. That is the wrong recording, wrong posting, wrong carry forward, wrong casting, wrong balancing. So these are the various types of mistakes we are committed by the accountant while he is doing the recording of transactions. Let's come first one. There is the wrong recording. Wrong recording, certainly it does not affect your trial balance agreement. If you have done wrong recording, it will not affect. Wrong recording means purchase of goods for 10,000, you have recorded 1,000. It does not affect your trial balance, but it is a mistake. Then wrong posting. Wrong posting means that is the transactions which have to be posted to the ledger account, it is wrongly posted. So certainly it may affect, may not affect. Where it is affect your trial balance agreement? If it is in the correct side, it does not affect your trial balance agreement. That means the amount is wrong, account is correct side, but amount is wrong. So that will not affect your trial balance. But if you are wrong posting, that means Ram account should be debited by 5,200. Instead of 5,200, you have debited 2,500. So that is the wrong posting. So that will affect your agreement of the trial balance. So that is the wrong posting. Wrong recording, that means recording, then purchase of goods 10,000, we had wrong recorded 1,000. That does not affect your trial balance. That is not a omission, but recorded wrong, less amount we had recorded. That is a wrong recording. It does not affect your trial balance. But wrong posting, RAM account debited 10,000, but we had posted to the debit of the RAM account 1,000. So that is the wrong amount that will affect your disagreement of your trial balance. But if it is the correct side, the wrong amount is you had recorded, then that does not affect your trial balance. Then wrong carry forward. Wrong carry forward means that will affect your agreement of your trial balance. Wrong carry forward means suppose that you had prepared the purchase book or the sales day book, purchase return book, sales return book. You are preparing, and first page is completed. You have to carry forward to the second page. Total of the purchase book 12,000 has been carried forward wrongly 1,20,000. So that means just you had added 10 extra there wrongly. So that is wrong carry forward. That means purchase book has been wrongly carried forward from 12,000 instead of 12,000 to 1,20,000. You imagine how much amount we had excess carry forward, 1,08,000. That is a huge amount that will affect the big loss, big effect in your calculation of your profit and loss. So your financial position was also affected. So that is the wrong carry forward. That means total purchase book, total sales book, or the total return, sales return book, purchase return book, bills receivable book, bills payable book, total wrongly carry forward. So there is the wrong carry forward. Then wrong casting. Wrong casting means totally. So while we are doing the totaling of the transactions of the purchase day book, sales day book, purchase account total at the purchase book, while we are doing the purchase book at the end, we are writing total purchase account debited total amount. So while we are doing the total, we had done the wrong totals. That means total should be 5,200 instead of 5,200, we had written 52,000. Or total should be 41,000, we have written 14,000. So that is the wrong total. That means that is the wrong casting. So that affect your trial balance. That means your in the purchase book, the name of the creditors amount is correct, but your total is wrong. So that will affect your agreement of trial balance. Then wrong balancing. Wrong balancing is same as wrong casting, but while we are doing the balancing of the ledger accounts, at the time we may do certain mistakes. So wrong casting in the different subsidiary books, we are doing the wrong totaling, so that is the wrong casting. But wrong balancing in the ledger account, while we are doing the balancing of the ledger account, we are doing certain mistakes. So this type of mistakes will certainly affect your agreement of your trial balance. That means suppose that purchase account. So while we are totaling, balancing the purchase account, we have done wrong totaling, wrong balancing. So that means total purchases account, calculated balance 10,000 instead of 1,000. So that is the excess 10,000 we had shown. That is the overcast by 1,000. Overcast, undercast by 1,000, overcast by 1,000, 500, 10,000, like this. That is the wrong balancing that will affect your agreement of your trial balance. So this is errors of commission. Then third is your compensating errors. Compensating errors, that is the errors which we are doing in one transaction, excess debit by 1,000. In other transactions, shortage of debit by 1,000. That means it will balance of your errors, mistake. In one transaction, you had excess debited by 1,000. In other transaction, you had debit shortage by 1,000. So it will balance. This type of errors is called compensating errors. That means the errors which nullify your transactions in simultaneously in one errors you have done certain mistakes, in other errors you have done another mistake, which it makes the balance of your transactions. So nullify the transactions of errors. So that does not affect your agreement of trial balance, but errors is there, mistake is there. So for example, purchase account excess debited by 1000, in sales return account shortage debit short by 1000. So that is balanced. So this type of errors is compensating errors. So it will not affect your trial balance. But errors is there, mistake is there. Then, so these are the three different types of errors. It is called human errors or clerical errors. That is the main errors. Then second type of errors is errors of principle. Errors of principles means that is the errors which is done by violating the principles, accounting principles. We are recording the transactions. So this is called the errors of principles. It is generally done in two ways. One is wrong recording of revenue transactions to capital and vice versa. That means while we are recording the transactions, we have done mistakes in the treatment of revenue transaction to the capital transactions. Capital transaction wrongly treated as revenue transactions. So that is called wrong application of the principle, wrong use of the accounting principles, which violate the accounting records of transactions. For example, purchase of land, paid commission. In his commission account has been debited by 500. So when we are purchasing the land, purchasing the machinery, loading, unloading, installation charges, everything is to be called as capitalization expenditures. But instead of doing it added to the land cost or the machinery cost, we had debited separately to the commission account or the loading, unloading charges account. So that is a wrong mistakes. So it does not affect your trial balance agreement. Errors of principles. It does not affect your agreement of trial balance. Trial balance will be agreed. Trial balance will not be mismatched, but mistake is there. So another examples, we have done a minor repairs to the computers or the machineries, but instead of debited to the repairs account, we have debited to the machinery account or to the computers account. So that means repairs is repairs is a revenue expenditure, but wrongly we had debited, treated as a capital expenditures. We had debited to the asset account. That is a mistake. But while we had purchased the land or the machineries, we had for installation of the machinery we had paid the labor charges. So there we had debited wages account. So it is a mistake. Wages is not a revenue expenditure here. It is a part of your asset account. So that is till the machinery functions, machine functions, whatever the expenditure we had done, that should be capitalized and it should be added to the cost of machineries or to that building or to the land. So that is the errors of principles. But errors of principle does not affect your trial balance, but errors is there that should be identified, that should be rectified. So this is about the nature of the errors, classification of errors. I want to discuss with you, and there instead of understanding this type of errors, we cannot rectify it. So this is the part 1 of the rectification of errors. In the second part, we will see that how we will rectify it, how we will correct it. That is the correcting part. We will see in the second part of the YouTube video channels. And till that, so you have to go through of this detail, understand it clearly, the nature and the type of the errors. Then we will do the rectifications. Thank you.